So what we will do today is first understand what Illustrator is used for, and what are its limitations, and possibilities we will explore as we go forward. So what we can do is just type in Illustrator art or something, or artwork, or rather we can also say vector artwork, because Illustrator is used for creating vector artworks. And then look at whatever comes on the Google search, and let's try to categorize the kind of graphics we have on screen right now, and that will help us understand better the capacity in which Illustrator can be utilized. So we look at this whole result from Google search, and we realize that there are artworks which looks very much like a bitmap image at a smaller zoomed out state. But when we uh, zoom into that, then we realize that actually it is created out of many vector shapes, right? uh, Same goes for let's say something like this. Looks quite detailed, but essentially this is not a bitmap image, right? Because we do not have smoother gradients. And if we observe, then we will realize that all of these color differences are because that they are filled in different shapes, right? So there are numerous ways how we can attempt at it. We can create it with the help of image trace also, and then further refine that trace. But there are different techniques which artists use. And while there is no set of rules which we should follow, but there are some best practices or general practices uh, which a lot of artists use. They have their own styles, they have their own way of working with tools, but essentially all of them are using the same tools. Now, for example, let's look at this one, which is rather very, very simple. And this kind of graphic style also became very popular, right? Now, look at this one. So, depends. Now, for example, this one, right? So all of these are vector illustrations and can be done in Illustrator. It's not necessarily done in Illustrator. There are other vector programs also which can produce similar results, but all of these can be done in Illustrator. Look at this one, again combination of a lot of shapes. uh, so all in all, if we can learn a few basic things today, that would help us in creating complex graphics if we keep on applying that again and again uh, in some project. It's all about creating a shape and filling that shape with a solid color or a gradient or a pattern, right? These three are the most common fills which people utilize. You can also fill those shapes with bitmap data, bitmap images, but then that would defy the purpose of bringing the whole artwork into a vector program, because the bitmaps are going to be resolution dependent. So let's look at this one. Now, it's very tiny, and then look at these series of artworks. They are all created in Illustrator, right? And they are all mirrored. So artist did the half of it, and then he mirrored it, right? So today the focus would be in doing something very simple, and while we do it, also try to learn uh, the techniques and tools involved. So we can start with something very, very simple. For that, like, we can pick out this one. It looks fairly simple, right? So we'll quickly have a look at how we can create these, and also learn about a few best practices, good practices. So I'm gonna copy this image, use it as a reference, start with a new Illustrator file, A4 size image in landscape format.
What time did we start today? Like not exactly, but like was it what time was it in your world?
It was 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah,
Um and so I believe would you ever be able to work do it at what's happening is my art and design class, and I have to prioritize these because this is what I get paid to do. Work at U of M. They've moved their weekly meetings to 9 a.m. on Fridays, which was our original time for our class.
okay.
Could we possibly meet like 1 hour later, or is that too late for you
So you
on
want to
Friday?
do it at 8:30?
Um, I think
8:30
so. I'd have to
in.
look at let me look at what time that is in here. Don't go ahead yet in the thing, but let me just find because sometimes you start going ahead and then I'm like I look at the video and I'm like, what did he do? Um, okay, it just has to load. Okay, so I'm gonna watch you right now. You can go ahead and then I'll tell you what time
Sure, no
conversion is.
problem. Yeah. Well, so I just copied it here and kept it aside. I
Yep.
cropped the extra part by masking that. I'll say
Yeah.
Control Z
Yeah.
couple of
Eight
times.
thirty. 8:30 is your time is 10 o'clock my time.
So you want to do it at 8:30 IST?
IST, it's Indian time.
8:30 p.m. IST will work. No problem.
And 10 p.m. And it'll probably always be like 8:35 or something like that, or maybe I can be on time, but it's because I'm in this art history meeting.
If you want, we can switch the Friday session on Thursday. So we can have Wednesday and
No,
Thursday.
I have no time on Thursday. I'm
Okay.
either driving 5 hours home or I'm teaching. So Thursday's not, it's not
Uh,
possible.
or Monday and Wednesday will also work for me.
Monday I'm driving. Wednesday we're already in class. And Tuesday I'm
Okay.
teaching. So Friday's my only option.
So Friday we can
Friday,
do
what Wednesday and Friday are my only options.
well. So let's do Friday 8:30 in that case. Okay.
Yeah, Friday 8:30, and we'll keep the other one till to 9 o'clock, unless you want to move it.
Uh,
Friday is 8:30 Indian time,
okay.
and and um, Wednesday is 7:30 Indian time.
Correct. That works. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's get back to the topic then. It's settled.
Yes.
So I just copied this. This looks very simple, right? And actually, it is simple, but we will learn how to create shapes and fill color into them and then create something like this. So
Okay.
I'm just going to mask it. It's like cropping the thing, but here in this we call it mask. So let me just delete this one real quick and then say Control V to paste the same thing back again. And I'm gonna click on mask and simply drag these transformation controls from left and right to chip out the thing which we don't require. And I'm just gonna put this here so that we can have a look at it while I create it from scratch. So ideally a lot of people would want you to start from pen tool and start tracing this, but we are not going to do that because the important thing is to understand the whole composition uh, and break it down into simple geometric shapes, and then by using those shapes create these. That is a better way and the right way to do it. So I'm gonna quickly just pull out some guidelines. In order to do so, you have to press Ctrl R if the ruler is not visible. Ctrl R is the toggle key for bringing in the ruler. and switching it off also. And then you can simply click and then drag guidelines. So I'm gonna pull up guidelines and then just put them along the edges and try to analyze the whole graphic here. Now what I understand from this is that this curvature and this curvature is same in nature, right? And if I quickly go and drag an ellipse and then try to position it, I'm just trying to analyze it, right? I'm not creating anything. And this would be a good exercise actually before we start building up anything. Try to break it down into simple shapes. So
Are
what
you
I
on
can,
different layers?
yeah.
Are you on different layers with this, or are you on the same layer?
Illustrator, uh, because Illustrator is a vector based program, you can do it in multiple layers also, but even if you don't do it, things will automatically be broken into sub layers. We will talk about that later. We don't have to worry about layers in Illustrator, at least for now. Okay, so
Okay.
I created this circle and I'm gonna give it a red outline and some thickness, extra thickness, so that it is visible to us. What are we analyzing? I think I went too far with this, so 2 pixel is fine. Now this part and this part is symmetric. Let me just pull up another guideline and then put it here. And if I create a rectangle, then I can see that this point and this curvature, if I try to just work with this and bend it all the way like this,
What did you grab that you got
right?
that
I'll
curve?
tell, yeah, I'll show you all of it once I draw it here separately.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry. So since you have asked, let me satisfy your curiosity. So the way, yeah, the way Illustrator works is, no, this is a new addition. Like earlier version of Illustrators didn't had this thing, these handles to control the curvature of the. There are three types of joints, anchor points basically. So if I now Now, in this whole line segment, there are three types of anchor points or anchor joints, you can call them. This is a corner anchor point. And for the corner anchor point, you will have a choice of setting the curvature and controlling it. Also, you have cusps where you have a straight line. The corner anchor point has two straight lines adjoining. The cusp has one straight line and one curvature. There also you will get this handle. And the third type is smooth one. So if you select the smooth one, you will not have the handles to control the curvature because it is not needed. It is already a smooth anchor point. Okay. Now what you can do with the corner points is select that and then use these handles to set the curvature.
That's so cool. And
Right?
then can you like left click on? Oh, that's what I was supposed to get at the computer store. I was supposed to get a mouse. I forgot. I went to the computer store and I was tired and I forgot. But that's so
Yeah.
cool that they have that. I do need to practice in Photoshop and in Illustrator using the pen tool though, because I try to do it and then mine looks like zigzags and curly cues and I'm like, oh, it's doing the wrong thing. So I do need
Mhm.
to practice that.
Yeah, and you should definitely get a mouse. Without the mouse, we will not be able to move ahead because
Yeah,
things are
I'll
going to
get
go
one this
more
weekend.
complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, when I
So,
was driving into Traverse City, my brain was pretty fried.
not an issue. Well, so this is what I did. Let's get
Mhm.
back to analyzing the shape here.
Okay, so you just grab the little center radius.
Yeah.
What is it called? The
Corner
toggle. Yeah,
handle.
that what's that called?
Corner handle point.
Corner handle point, and you brought it into a circle. Got it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
if
new. I didn't know about that.
okay. Now see, if you have a geometric shape and you grab any one of the corner handles, then it's
Mm-hmm.
going to apply it on all the corners at once, right? Because all the corners are selected by default. The moment you draw a shape and you select that and then switch to the corner point, all the corner points are selected by default. So if you just
Okay.
want to address one, all of them are selected, but if you click on any one of them, that is going to get highlighted, and this way you can just control one single corner point.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
also hold shift and then select more than one. This is also possible. And let's say if you want to do it numerically, like precisely that I want a curvature of 5 mm, then you'll have to go to the properties panel and look for wait a second, did I close appearance? No, I think, okay, let me get the properties panel back here. So there is this properties panel, you can get it in the Windows menu if you have accidentally closed it. Usually it is on the right hand side. So if I click on properties panel, this panel has the options which allow us to control the curvature. Okay, and it will be, well, so I think, yeah, there it is hidden. Okay, you click on the three dot menu here under the rectangle, and there goes your all four corner settings, and by default this is locked. If it is locked, changing one will affect all others also. Okay,
Okay.
so if I am gonna go for 15 points, okay, did I, yeah, so it is 15 points now. Okay, and if I break this and I go for like 50 points here, it's only going to affect one side. So this is for the
Okay.
top left, right, top right, bottom left, and bottom right.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna just drag this here. So now let's get back to analyzing this whole thing. So this shape now I understand is can be created very easily by two shapes, right? One circle, one rectangle, and that is all what I need to start with. So what I'm gonna do is create my own ellipse. Okay, and since I'm using the guidelines to get to the center point, yeah, so it will be easy for me. And then I'm gonna go first deselect, then select the rectangle tool and drag it like so to create a rectangle. Then shape tool, click on this once, notice that it is highlighted now, rest all of them
Mm-hmm.
are not highlighted. Click and then drag all the way. Okay, and now we'll have to combine these two together. So that can be done with Pathfinder. If you don't see the Pathfinder tools in this docket, you'll have to go to the window menu and then look for Pathfinder. Alternatively, you can press the shortcut Ctrl Shift F9 on the keyboard. So these are two different shapes. If I want to join them together, what I should do is just select the first shape mod, which is uniting the two selected shapes. In order to join them together, you'll have to select both of them first and then click on this to unite them together. Now it became one shape. Okay, so
You
you
did you
can
at the whole
create
time? Did you only click the first shape
option.
module?
Yeah,
So
that's
you
it.
just clicked the first one. So it just kept deleting the inside lines.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
have two shapes, and if you want to join them together, you'll have to select both and click on
Mm-hmm.
this icon here.
Okay.
Okay, you can do many other things also with Pathfinder, such as you can select again, and if you want to use the top shape to chop off the bottom one, then you can use the second option, which is minus front. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
similarly, you have intersection, you have exclude also. So you, I'll share a video separately for this. Okay. Or you can just try them out on your own and then find out. That exploration will really help you. I'm just
I have a
gonna delete
question.
this one.
Would it be
Yes.
okay? Not the videos that we're doing where there's me talking and you talking, but the videos that you have on YouTube. Can I share those with my students?
Yes, yes, go ahead, please. Why not?
Okay.
Yes, feel
So
free.
yeah, if you have anything related to packaging or making packaging or making the candy bar or anything like that, I would love to share that with them.
Uh, I don't have all those right now, but
Yeah, but anything that you think is interesting that you think is um
sure.
appropriate for me to share.
Yes, I'll
Yeah.
share you the links. Okay.
And they're juniors and well, some are really basic and some are still learning. They're like sophomores, and some are juniors and seniors, which are really advanced. So I have both
Okay.
sides.
Okay. Not a problem. Well, so after creating this shape, I realized that I have two similar shapes
Mhm.
right here at the center. So I'm just gonna make a copy of it, and that I can do by holding Alt on the keyboard. Notice what happens if I hold Alt, my cursor changes, right? If I hover on top of the shape, and now I click and drag to make a copy of it. Then I can make it small, right? By dragging it from any of the corners. And to make sure that it is of the same size, I'll again use the guidelines. I'm not gonna place it on top of that and then try to make it of that size, but rather use guidelines to help me get the right size. So I'm gonna align the bottom of this shape. Make sure that you are holding shift because that will constrain the proportion. If you don't hold shift, this is gonna happen. You don't want
Mm.
that, right? So hold shift and then drag down, and then you have it in right scale. Notice while I reduce the size of it, the outline also became thinner. Now this is happening because I have an option in the preferences checked. By going to the preferences dialog box, you'll have to say Control K on the keyboard, and then notice that option here which says scale, stroke and effects. If that is not ticked on, your outlines are not going to go thinner when you make the shapes smaller. Okay, in this case it works, so I'll just say okay. And anyway, this artwork does not have any outline, so we should not be bothered about the outline. In case if I want to match the thickness of these two, I can simply select this, hit I on the keyboard to bring in the eyedropper tool and click on this one to pick the properties from here, and I get the same thickness in the outline. Now I need to make the mirror of it. Let's say this is here and I want to make a mirror version of it. That can simply be done by selecting it and going to the mirror tool here. This one, reflect tool. Okay. So the reflect tool will allow me to mirror it. Now, the way we use reflect tool is you have to select one object or a group of objects. In this case, I have just one single object. Then you'll have to go to the reflect tool. The first thing you need to do is define a point or the axis of reflection basically. So by default it's going to be in the center. Look at this target arrow here. We don't want it to reflect from the center but rather somewhere around here. So to define the new axis of mirror, you'll have to just come here and then click once. That's it. Once I'm gonna click and this target cursor will go here. Now I'll have to hold Alt on the keyboard and notice the change in the cursor. I'm holding alt and I'll click from the left hand side and then just drag opposite. Now it's reflecting, right? But it also feels as if I can rotate while reflecting also, right? But in this case I want to confine it to 90 degree, minus 90 degrees, so I can hold shift and that will automatically snap it to minus 90 degree. And then I'll let go of my mouse cursor first, sorry, mouse click first, and then let go of the buttons I have pressed, which is alt and shift. Alt for making a copy. If you don't want to make a copy and simply reflect the shape, don't hold alt, that will still work. Okay, so we have the basic shapes got figured out. Now this one is fairly simple, is created out of two circles. Again, I'll take help of guidelines. Okay, and then here in the center I would want to create the circle. Now I'm gonna click on the circle tool, the ellipse tool, and just draw it. I'll make sure that I'm drawing the circle in between these two guidelines, right? So I can start like so, and as I draw I realize that it's not befitting in the area where I wanted to draw it. So what I can do is zoom in a little bit, right? And then take help of a rectangle to draw the circle right in the center. So I'll take help of the guidelines to draw this rectangle, and then I can convert this rectangle into a circle. And in fact, why rectangle? Why not we should draw a square? Because converting the square into a circle would be easier, right? So I'm holding shift and then dragging from the top to the bottom, um, and I'm holding shift. I have made sure that the top aligns with this guideline and the bottom aligns with this guideline. Makes our job very easy. Now all I have to do is go to any of the control points at the corner and then click and drag it to create it into a circle. Very, very simple. And I got the circle right where I wanted it. Okay. Now the next thing is, how do I ensure that this circle is exactly in the middle of these two lines? That is very simple to do. You'll have to select the circle, hold shift and select this shape here, and then once again click on this to set it as the this is going to be the reference, right? If you just click it once, again I'll repeat it. You click on this, hold shift, click on this, you have both of them selected. Now you can click on this one because I want this shape, outer shape, not to move, but the circle to move in reference to the outer shapes. To define it as a reference, let go of all the buttons on the keyboard and simply click on this once, and you will see that it becomes, more highlighted. The blue color in the center is highlighted more. And now you go here at the top and click on this horizontal align center, and it's gonna place this circle right in the center of this. Okay, let me zoom out. The same way I can zoom out in this also by holding alt and scrolling up and down. So I got this shape correct. Now the second thing is I need a smaller circle in the center also. Now this time I'm not gonna make another guideline but just eyeball it. So I'm gonna select this one and press Ctrl C to copy this, right? And then say Ctrl F. Remember, Ctrl F is the shortcut for paste in front. Ctrl plus F. So I copied it and pasted it on top of it. Seems as if nothing happened, but actually I have two circles kept on top of each other. So I'm gonna say Ctrl Z to set its position back to where it
Is
was pasted.
control is command, right?
Command, yes, control is
Yeah.
command, sorry. And then I'm gonna reduce the size of it by holding alt and shift together. Alt for changing it from the center. Now as I do so, it's not possible to go any smaller than this. Now that is happening because I have constructed this circle from a rectangle. right? So it's not allowing me to reduce it any further. In that case, there are a few ways how we can do it. We can go to the object and then choose expand and let the fill and stroke be expanded. No, sorry, I just want to expand the fill, not the stroke, and then say okay. And now I can make it small. Okay, and I'll just set it right in the center. And yeah, if it is thicker outline, then fine, I can simply press I on the keyboard and pick it from here. So more or less we have managed to do what we wanted to do on the left hand side. On the right hand side, I have this moon shape. Now that can also be created by using this circle we have. So I'm just gonna pull this here and then leave it in the center of this, right? And then select this and hold alt and make a copy of it and then let go of it when I recognize this shape here, which looks like moon, right? And now I'm gonna do is select both of them and use the pathfinder second option minus front to get the moon. And for this, right, we have the center white, then black circle. So first select this one, hold I on the keyboard and then pick out the color from here. Very simple. Then hit V on the keyboard to go to the selection tool. Select the center shape, hit I on the keyboard and click on the white area to pick that one. Then I'm going to select this bigger shape, hit I on the keyboard and pick the color from here to turn it completely into black. Then I'm going to select this one and hold shift, select this one, hold I on the keyboard and pick the white color to get this. Now this moon also needs to be black. Select this one, hit I on the keyboard and pick the color from here. Okay, now this bottom shape, right? Now let's analyze it with the help of ellipse tool. So if I start an ellipse here, holding shift and alt both together and I drag it, I realize that this shape can be cut out from a circle, right? We can make it from a circle. So I'm just gonna pull this so much that it completely superimposes that white area, and then I'm going to drag this and make sure that the circle's center, and I should actually ideally be dragging it from the center and then dropping it here at the intersection. Okay, now I need to chop out that part, right, this much part, and make that white. Okay, that is what we will do. So I'm gonna select this shape, shift click on this shape at the back and then look at here the option we are looking for. So the intersect option is the third one. Let's click on that, and the moment I do it, I get that shape, but I also lose the shape, the back shape we had, right? And I don't want to lose it. So do I have an option? I see that similar option is there available here as well, crop. Why not? Let's try it. So if I do the crop, same thing happens, but then again I lose the back shape. So I'm gonna say Control Z, and there are ways how we can keep the both the things, and then there are shape builder tools, but those are a little advanced things which we will see in upcoming sessions. For now, what we will do, I'm going to first select this circle, right, and select this one also, both of them, and say Control C on the keyboard to make a copy of it so that it is preserved in my clipboard. I have copied it already, and now I'm going to use this intersect. I got this shape, right, but the shapes I had copied is still in my clipboard, so I can simply say Control F to paste them. Okay, and then I'm gonna again select this one, shift click on this one, and I'm gonna trim out this part by selecting the second option. So I have this shape separately, this shape separately, but they both came on top when I pasted it by using the shortcut Control F. So two things we need to do. First, we need to change this into white. So I'm gonna select this, hit I on the keyboard and pick the color from here. And then I'm going to select both of them together by holding Shift and send them all the way to the back in the stacking order by pressing Control Shift left bracket. Remember, Control Shift left bracket. In your case, it will be Command Shift left bracket. You can use the shortcut also, or you can right click on it and then go for arrange menu and look for this option, send to back. Control Shift left bracket. Yes,
Hmm.
right, but still it is not looking good because we do not have that background, right? So let's create it quickly by using the rectangle tool. And because there are a lot of curvy points, I would rather use a rounded rectangle to create the background and make it like so. Hold I on the keyboard, pick the color from this and send it all the way to the back by pressing Ctrl Shift left bracket on the keyboard. Once we are done, let's quickly compare the results. So I'm going to get rid of these things and switch off the guideline by hitting the shortcut Control semicolon on the keyboard. Control plus semicolon will hide the guidelines. And this is what we created.
Cute.
Okay. Now let's
You know
zoom
the
in.
artist? Do you know the artist Charlie Harper?
No, I don't.
He makes all these kinds of animals.
Oh, I'll look for him. Now, if I zoom in, you will see that the pixelation is happening here because this reference is from a bitmap. Even though it is created in vector, the thing from where we copied was a bitmap export of that vector art. But now we have something which is independent of resolution and can be scaled up to any size, right? So this is how we should analyze rather than a few people you would see they start with pen tool and they start sort of uh, tracing the object.
Yeah, that's kind of like the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and that's not right. If you don't have a choice and the shape is very organic, difficult to create from simple geometric shapes, then go that way. Otherwise, this is the better way to do it. Okay, so we have created something very simple today, and I'm not gonna complicate it for you today because I really want you to finish this first and maybe few more shapes. So I'm just going to save this file and
I'll
then
make you some more Charlie Harper animals.
yeah, you make few more animals, but make sure that the process is similar, right? You use the guidelines and create it from scratch. Use the pathfinder, use the all the tricks which I showed you in this video. And
Yes, boss.
okay. uh,
Okay.
all right, so I'm gonna save this one and we'll call it Illustrator first day.
I sent you a little picture of Charlie Harper's work. They're perfect for this project.
Okay.
These little parties.
uh, yeah, correct, I see. Nice, good one. Well, so I'll stop the recording now.